Today we are talking about Vedic herbalism. I have with me one of my dearest friends, his students, who's now a Ayurveda practitioner for many, many years, maybe even better than I am. Is an Ayurvedic practitioner based out of Austin, Texas. Welcome, Leah. Let's talk about.
Thank you, Manjalali, for being my divine teacher and setting this up for us. This is a beautiful offering. And thank you, Catherine, it is.
Yes,
Okay.
Catherine or Cat.
So do you have a copy of the Bhava Prakash, Cat?
I do not.
Looked through it or anything? Okay, you should get one. It's fun. That was one of my favorite things to do while I was learning and studying from Manju was go get all of these ancient texts and look at them, and it's really all there. It really is.
Pitta students in that group. They just went and bought all the texts.
So I have all of them, right? The qualities of oil, right? So all oils obviously are going to pacify vata. And Kat, since you're the only one here, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. But can you imagine why the qualities of oil pacify vata?
Oh, because Vada's dry.
Right. You're right. So the opposite, right? More than just dry. It's cold, it's dry, it's rough, it is very light, right? And so oil is like all of the exact opposite qualities of that, right? And so that's the same reason why it can aggravate pitta, because pitta is very oily and heating, and some of these oils, especially the mustard and the sesame, can be very heating, but especially that oil and that spreading quality can really aggravate pitta.
The heaviness of oil, every single oil, even if the oil is cooling, for example, coconut oil, because it might be cooling, but it's also heavy, it is guru. So the guru quality actually pacifies vata despite being cooling. So in small amounts, even that's why vata persons can get away with having things cooked in coconut.
Right.
Because of the
Yeah.
gurutva. If you have overdo it, obviously, then it's a problem.
Well, and also like you always taught me when you're cooking, if you're adding warming spices, if you're
Exactly.
using the coconut oil, that can change the quality of the food
Yeah.
as well. Because you're cooking
Exactly.
more, maybe, sweeter, heavier foods in spicier spices, and then that can change the quality of coolness if you're using a coconut oil. And the reason we use coconut oil, and please pop in anytime, either one of you, but the reason we use coconut oil is partially, for me at least, if I'm not using ghee, is because it has the highest heat point. So we want to be really careful of our oils when we're cooking them, because they will go rancid and we will lose some of the volatile like omegas and ALAs and, saturated fats in them if we cook them at too high of a heat. So like for instance, my daughter loves olive oil and she cooks with it, and I'm just always yelling at her, please don't cook with it. Please cook with the coconut oil. Please use ghee. Just use olive oil without heat, because we don't want to ruin those volatile oils in there.
Most of the olive oil that is being sold, it is bad quality.
Yeah, it's already rancid, right?
It's a really good quality olive oil, let's say that's coming from Ojai in California. It's going to cost you $20 to $30 for a bottle, which now in Walmart they sell olive oil for $12. And I'm like, how is that even possible?
Yeah. And I was reading up on that. In theory, cold press, you have to extract it at temperatures under 115 degrees.
How is that cold press? Explain that to me.
Right. And the other, so it's 115 degrees, but it's not even regulated. So we don't even know. Like it's not easy, right? Yeah. Like, so that's not a regulated thing. It's just, you can say that, but there's no actual regulation on it.
If it's made in Italy, I try to avoid it because there's an Italian mafia which regulates the entire olive oil industry from Italy. So
Okay.
what they're mixing in, what's coming here, we don't know. Similarly, honey that comes from China, most of it's rice syrup.
Believe that. Yeah, I believe that. A lot of honey and like really cheap, low quality can be, what is the other, not sucralose, but just corn syrup or something that they've just flavored,
Yeah.
They do that with maple syrup as well.
Well, maple syrup, I didn't know. Is that maple syrup that comes from Canada?
So sometimes maple syrup, obviously the goal is to get pure maple syrup from the maple tree, but a lot of maple syrups in stores are just colored, flavored corn syrup.
What? See, I didn't know this.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not, that's what we have to pay attention to as consumers, because that's not really maple syrup. But they can get away with calling it maple syrup and then just on the back saying maple flavor, blah, blah, blah. Like it doesn't have, like you can't regulate, or apparently it's not regulated what they call it. So
Whoa.
this is the world we're living in. So in the Bhava Prakash, the first oil that they go over is sesame oil, tila oil, best tylum for pacification of vayu. We could apply it during rasadhatu vitiation, vata dushti abhyanga. internally and as oleation externally for the body. So we can consume it when we're doing our panchakarma, purva karma, and then we can also use it as abhyanga, and then also basti. We can use it internally as basti. It's the best oil for basti. It helps to spread rasa all over the body. In the Bhava Prakash, they talk about how it bestows stability and strength, and a good color or complexion. It's laxative, considered an aphrodisiac. It widens the small channels. So when vata gets really dry and constricted, which is one of the issues with vata, sesame oil not only is lubricating and moistening and nourishing, but it's also actually has a widening of the channels quality and action to it. It is hot in potency, cold to the touch. It is stoutening, so it brings a lot of balya and strength and, good for your muscles, good for your, for building and brimhana and nourishing and such.
The white sesame seeds, they are more kapha aggravating, but both the sesames are kapha aggravating. And the black sesame, the black color is because of the presence of iron.
That's one of the things about sesame oil is that it is so high in minerals, right?
Yeah,
So
it's very
it's
high.
high in iron, it's high in magnesium,
Yep.
copper,
Mm-hmm.
calcium. I heard, and I can't remember where I heard this, but I heard that it was actually high in natural fluoride, and that's
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the reasons why it's so good. So it's like we need fluoride, just need it in a more natural, holistic form. So, and just think
Zinc
about
and copper. So it has all, that's why it has that salty taste.
right, and when you're gargling with it, oil pulling with it, just think about how all of those minerals and nutrients are being taken transmucosally, up in the bloodstream through the gums. It is also an unsaturated fat that's high in what I've read up on omega 6s and omega 9s.
Yeah, yeah.
So it does have a lower heating point.
That's another thing, Catherine, have you used it?
There's a lot of sesame oils. I thought it, to be honest, my family's Greek, and so we do a lot of olive oil. I've recently, because of the 325 smoke point of olive oil, I've shifted to coconut or ghee. And so when I'm cooking for my parents, oh my gosh, it's like I'll hear it, You use
So olive oil does your family use?
what type? Unrefined, organic, cold pressed. They use so much of it. They buy it in the tins and they sometimes have it shipped, but right now they're getting it from Sprouts. Like,
Another thing, I've seen people buy the tins, and I'm like, I'm not sure are tins okay?
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
big
Yeah, and some of them are very good quality, I know that, but how do you know, where you're getting it from?
yeah,
yeah. Well,
absolutely.
hopefully Sprouts says where. I've looked into them and they're outrageously expensive.
I
Because
know, I know somebody who works in this industry, and he gave us a tin. It cost $200 a tin.
That's some good olive oil. Did it
Yeah, but
take
it
like
was
$200 worth of olive
no,
oil?
it came with a certificate
Yeah.
down to good olive trees and whatnot.
So anyway, but with the sesame oil, I personally use it in all of the Shirodara oil that I make, and I do know that it's high in essential amino acids, which makes it really good for vata because of course vata is lower in that. So it has good essential amino acids, and the omegas and all of that make it really good for brain health. And when we're using oil transdermally, we're affecting the brain and the nervous system and all of that immediately. So all of these essential fatty acids and amino acids and minerals and nutrients and all of these things can be uptaken through transdermally through the skin. And so that's another benefit of sesame oil. And the black sesame oil has a little bit of a different property. It's
Yeah.
good for graying of the
I
hair.
have a question for you. So when you're making sesame oil, so do you buy raw sesame oil and then
Exactly.
when you probably end up using a double boiler then because you can't heat it up too
You
much.
can't heat it up too much. Yeah. And very low flame. It
Yeah.
takes me usually about 8 hours to
Yeah.
cook the
It's
decoction.
very low flame.
Very low flame.
I've tried to make my own and it has ended up becoming rancid a few times. So
Yeah.
then I ended up using, what is that, the slow cooker?
Yes. Yes. I've
And
tried.
that seems to work.
How long did it take you to do that in the slow?
Well, I kind of was smelling it. Before that rancid smell comes, I mean, there's a little bit of a fragrance that comes out, and that's
Yeah.
it. it's done.
And that's when you're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's a definitely when I'm making my oils, it's a weekend long project and
It's a
it's very
long project,
slow
exactly.
and it's worth it. Like I enjoy it. It can be like a whole sadhana for me and when I'm doing it, but you have to be really careful. I've burned oil before and had to start over from scratch.
Yeah. In South India, use sesame oil for cooking and it's not cold pressed. So with my
Yeah.
Indian clients, I'm always telling them don't cook with sesame oil. But
I
I
think
have seen the same black sesame oil, but it's raw in Asian food stores. That
mhm.
if you smell it, it's amazing.
You
So
can tell the difference when you smell it.
when you smell it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what worries me is I think that a lot of people, that was one of the biggest things that I was trying to get them to change because they were buying the lowest quality, cheapest oils and cooking them on really high heat. And they're
Yes,
making this beautiful food for people in this sattvic place who are meditating. And the oil, every time you eat, you're just afterwards, you're just trying to, like trying to feel good after some really heavy meal, which doesn't need to be that way if you're using higher
exactly.
quality oils and not cooking over, overheating them. And if you are going to heat them high, then use coconut oil or ghee, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the
Well, in
takeaway.
ISKCON, they make everything with. Well, Atul just cooks everything in ghee, and when any frying is being done in ghee, it still remains fragrant. Catherine,
It's
do
so
you do any
beautiful.
frying with ghee at all?
I don't really fry food, but
Not even just gently like stir fry?
I make stir fries. Yeah, I fry with ghee. Yeah, I do stir fries with ghee.
Yeah, but the thing is with any other oil, there's that smell that comes and you can never reuse it, but you can reuse the pan when you're using ghee.
Yeah. Yes, you can reuse the pan. I know. It's wonderful. Ghee is like, yeah. And it's so sattvic.
Don't get me started. I have to tell you a story about mustard oil before you talk about it. My
How?
dad, by age 88, his hair were lush and barely gray. He would put mustard oil and sesame oil mix on his hair every
Oh, I love it.
single day.
Yeah. And it's so pungent smelling too, right? Mustard oil, it's so strong.
He didn't too much in it. He just put a
Yeah.
little bit with sesame and he would put on his hair. And he would only shampoo like once a week.
And it kept his hair black and
It
thick
kept
and
his hair black and yeah. Yeah. And in 88 years, he never had a cold. Ever. Never.
black mustard oil. We're talking about black seeds. Pungent rasa, pungent vipaka, hot potency, reduces kapha, meta dhatu. Vata it reduces vata in small amounts, but if you get too much heating in vata, it can aggravate it. It's good for kapha yoni imbalances. So it even says, specifically in here, so it should be used internally in cooking as well as topically. The paste is strong and usually preferred in cooking. However, paste is not as strong as the oil. And the paste is really good. The lepa is really good when you're treating people with kapha issues, bacterial issues, or if you're treating the meta dhatu for kapha, you can do that directly on the skin for people. In India, they like to use it for the wrestlers and bodybuilders. They like to use it because it has really good at
Mhm.
relieving stiffness, right? It's
Also offer it to Hanuman.
oh. Yeah.
You have to use Varnaya gun. Varnaya gun would be what? Varnaya means skin. So this would be manjishta, sandalwood, licorice, turmeric. On the top of my head, Nagakeshara, which is the flowers of saffron. So you have to use them and you have to use mustard oil. And of course, the autoimmune portion, we cannot do anything with vitiligo.
Would you make an oil with all of those herbs? Like, would you make a medicated
Yeah, yeah,
mix
you
that
could
in?
do that. You could do that. Problem is some of the herbs are, they're gentle and mustard is very.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what they do is they do the topical and then you cook your food with mustard and
Yeah.
you do those Varnya Dravya separately
Okay.
or
Internally or external?
internally.
Okay. Okay. That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I think just in general, keeping the understanding that because of its heating and, pungent vipaka, that it will kill bacteria. So that's bacteria on the skin, that's fungus on the skin, that's all sorts of things on the skin, as well as in the, for women, female issues as well. So, It does aggravate pitta and rakta dhatu.
I also want to point out, Catherine, you don't do onions, right?
No, I don't.
Instead of onions, mustard oil can be used. It gives a really distinct taste. If you ever come here, I'll make you my mustard potato salad.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mustard potato with poppy seeds.
If you haven't, have you had Manju or Atul's cooking yet?
Oh, we haven't met in person yet.
No, not yet.
So mustard oil is really good for because it will warm up, relieve tension. Like I was saying, the bodybuilders like it. It's considered unctuous, bitter, pungent, sharp, light, and heating. Those are the qualities. It destroys vata and kapha mucus. It will increase pitta and body heat. The Western herbalists and practitioners also have tried to use it for years in those mustard baths, soaking in mustard baths. So because it also brings alkalinity to the body doing that. So yeah, earache can be it's a good for an earache by placing a few drops of lukewarm mustard oil in the ear. Garlic oil and sesame oil are also good. Whereas if it's just a vata pacifying in the ear, sesame oil is really good for that. Okay, so flaxseed oil is fire-like in qualities. It's unctuous, hot in potency. It increases kapha and pitta. It has a pungent vipak. It is not good for eyes, but it is strengthening. It mitigates vata. It's not easily digestible because of the heaviness. It produces more feces, so it's a laxative effect. So flaxseed oil we know is really rich in ALAs, right? We know that those are really good for our brain health. So we can use flaxseed oil in modern times to help people who might have mental disturbances, because we know that like anytime we're feeding people the omegas and the ALAs, that we're feeding their brain, we're helping to kind of clear anxiety, worry, all those kinds of things. So it's a really good for brain and nervous system issues. It's good immune booster, and it is considered laxative.
Are you talking about flaxseed or flax leaf?
If I use the oil, so I'll go buy the oil that's
Okay.
high quality,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will let that warm gently in just my oil warmer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can put that as a compress for your period, for sore breast,
Mm-hmm.
menstrual, or even on your stomach if you are constipated or having anything like that. So it's really good for kind of breaking down that stagnation that can come during your menstrual cycle, which creates pain, or during, when you're constipated, which sometimes happens during your menstrual cycle. So that's what I've used it for
So
mainly.
one on
Oh, well, the beauty of Ayurveda is everything is right here at your fingertips. It's all offered to you by Mother Nature and the divine, and we have it here. And it really is that simple. And it's our complication of our modern lifestyle and our modern way of living and our modern way of, dealing with and relating to the external environment that prevents us from having, the ease and harmony of these herbs in our life. But really, it is that simple. And I'm always just really quickly, I'm always disappointed when I have a client that says I can't take ginger or turmeric, or I have people tell me that there's like these natural herbs that they can't take because they're taking a pharmaceutical that's contraindicated at the same time. And I'm always in my mind saying, oh my goodness, like Mother Nature's offering you this and you can't accept like just a natural remedy because of some medical intervention that is creating a lot of negative side effects. So anyway, that's a mini soapbox, but it's really too bad that we've gone so far away from just being able to use the natural things that are offered.
Yeah, yeah.